Thank you for watching. This is Thoughtful Discussions with Josh Snider. And I have with me
Ben Petchel.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I am a photographer. I kind of have a bunch of different trades. I work at a screen printing company. I started a company called HaveFunDoGood with my buddy.
Yeah.
And I'm also a freelance photographer in Pittsburgh.
Hell yeah. So tell me a little bit about Have Fun Do Good.
So what HaveFunDoGood is, me and my buddy Adam Kuntz, actually, to go way back.
Go way back.
Right out of college, I went on a trip called The Call to Serve with Adam. That was his company back then, and I was documenting a road trip around the country, volunteering in different cities along the way.
Gotcha.
After that kind of fizzled out, and me and him wanted to get out of Pittsburgh for a little on weekends because we weren't into like the bar scene.
Yep.
And we started going to New York, and we'd volunteer in the morning and then go out and see New York at night. So our friends started hitting us up like, hey, we want to come on a trip.
Yeah.
Trip started filling up, and then we started doing a national park trip, Costa Rica, California, Colorado, and now we're still trying to figure it all out, but we're a social good travel company.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so what are some of the things you do? Have fun, do good. Part of it is split up. So you're doing what and what? While you're
So we're volunteering in the morning, and then we're having fun in the afternoon. For example, like Costa Rica, we work with sea turtles in the morning, and then we learn how to surf in the afternoon. Or we go to a school and work with the kids there, and then we go to a waterfall and jump off a waterfall there, or go swimming in the ocean, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But we were just in Ohio Pal last weekend, so what we did is we worked with the Friends of Ohio Pal, and I mean, we were chopping up trees, fixing the campgrounds, getting them prepared for spring next year. Yeah. And then we went whitewater rafting after and camped and had fun. So it was a little cold, but it was a blast. We had a good group.
Definitely.
Yeah.
How do you find the people to come with you? Is it all people from Pittsburgh, or is it people from all over the world?
So for our local stuff, it's normally Pittsburgh people. Yeah. But on this Ohio Pal trip, we actually had people that wanted to fly in from Texas, California, and they ended up not doing it because it was just such a short trip. But normally, Pittsburgh has always been the best. Because we're both from Pittsburgh. Right. But normally, on our last national park trip, they're from all over the country: Chicago, California, Florida, everywhere.
You handle the travel and all that.
Yeah, all they have to do is fly there, actually.
Okay.
So they pay for flying. Yeah, but then once they get there, we always say, like, just pack your bags, fly there, and everything else is handled. Gotcha. So they don't have to deal with anything else, food, anything. So yeah.
Gotcha. And now is this more for creatives, more for anyone, people going through something, people who's your ideal person that's going to come on one of these trips?
So we actually had a 53-year-old on our last trip. A lot of the people are between 23 to 30. Right. A lot of people are trying to figure out what they want to do, or they want to travel, but don't have anybody to travel with.
Gotcha.
Or they want to do good. So a wide range. We do a thing called Thankfuls every night at dinner, just to kind of give people the time to talk about what they're thankful for, and then listen to other people. But when that comes out and when people start actually talking about it and getting real, I mean, a lot of people that come on our trips are going through something, and they just wanted to be adventurous and be around people that are also like-minded.
Right.
So I would say, you're dead on with people going through something.
Yeah. Interesting. What do you think people get out of it when they're good? Like, I know you've probably gotten some feedback, but you're able to see as well from, your perspective. What do you think? Like, what do you think has been the most valuable aspect of someone coming through one of these trips?
The greatest thing, and what we've kind of learned, is when you're in your own city. Yeah. You're kind of stuck to these bubbles that we are already surrounded. We know that Lawrenceville is going to be here, and I don't want to. When you go outside of your city, you're outside of your comfort zone, and you're more open to be your true self. You're not worried about Joe Schmo seeing you on the street doing something different. Right. You're a lot more comfortable for different ideas. So when people go on these trips, their true self kind of comes out because they're not worried about these surroundings that they already know. Right. And when you travel, that's what understanding other culture, understanding yourself. That's what we've kind of learned the most, is like people really come out of their shell. Yeah. When they go on those trips. So it's getting outside of your comfort zone is a big thing we talk about, but it kind of unfolds naturally.
So when you guys started doing it yourselves, like, was there any hesitation or anything like, oh, I don't know, like, should you do this, or was it just put it together and go? Like,
so what we've kind of learned is just to execute and figure it out later. Yeah. So even Ohio Pal trip, we just were like, we need to do this. It needs to happen. Yeah. But a lot of times you're hitting those. I mean, nothing ever goes perfectly.
You learn from it, right?
But yeah, that's the best thing. Like I never take a negative thing that happened on a trip in kind of dwell on it.
Right.
It's just like, thank God we found that out. Right. And now we can correct it. But yeah, I mean, last year the sea turtles didn't even come to Costa Rica, and it wasn't our fault. They were supposed to be there. Right. I mean, global warming kind of fault. But you have to roll with the punches on that, and you just move forward, and you let everybody know that we're human. And that's like the biggest thing with these trips is we're all human.
Right.
Things are going to happen. Let's just adapt and move forward. And we've been really blessed to have an amazing group of people come on the trips because a lot of people have that mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've been a photographer for some time, and you've been working with. Tell me a little bit about that. What you do, who you work with, how'd you get started with that? Kind of where you're at now.
So what I use photography as is a way for me to kind of find myself, and I'm still trying to find my best self.
Yeah.
But as I'm growing up, I'm in like getting new clients. I'm really dialing in the client that I believe in and that will help me.
Yeah.
And that's what I've kind of learned with my photography. It started with pretty much Call to Serve. That was like my first true gig. I was on the road. I was documenting the country.
Okay.
And then as soon as I got back, I got some really good gigs. I got the Giant Eagles that everybody's like, oh, yeah, Giant Eagle, Fairmont. And then I'm like, it wasn't fulfilling at all. It was just work. And so as I've grown up, I've also grown the client list I appreciate and I love being with. And I mean, of course, everybody gets burned or they don't have that great gig. Right. But it's, again, a blessing because you're like, all right, I can move forward to find actually what I want to do. Right. And I've really dialed in like some clients that it makes me better. Yeah. And it makes me happy. So I'm not that hustling photographer out there that's always trying to do. I haven't niched in. Like that's my biggest problem, I would say, is like I've never niched in. Okay. But it's because of my personality. I don't like to be stuck on one thing. Right. So I would say like growing up with photography, I've always tried to grow for me, not for anybody else. Even like my Instagram doesn't make sense. I don't post on like I should be this guy that's posting on the right times for all the right things, but I don't because I feel like I really want to represent myself, and I'm not there yet. Like I don't know what I love yet. I'm always finding out.
Still figuring that out. Yeah. So that was going to be my next question. Where are you headed next? What do you see your future? And you may not have an answer for that, but what would you like it to be? So
Adam, actually, with the Have Fun Do Good, he asked me probably about 4 years ago, what do you love to do? Right. And it was to help people and to document me helping people, not to get that fulfillment that I'm actually helping people. What's up, world? Like I'm this awesome human being. Right. It's just I do get like a crazy, like natural high from that accomplishment of helping somebody and then getting that raw emotion. Right. So if I can move forward with that, with documentation, journalism, any of that kind of stuff, I would love to move forward and get paid for it. So that's what kind of spawned Have Fun Do Good. It's like my dream job. So I'm trying to create my dream job.
Yeah. Always. That's what we're all trying to do.
But in 4 years, if I could be full-time, Have Fun Do Good, and doing those trips and photographing those trips and meeting those people, that's game over for me. Yeah. And then I'll probably move on to something else, but that's just how I am.
Yeah. One day.
One day.
Who's someone that you looked up to, and like how did that influence what you do now?
Whew. That's a good question. I mean, of course, you always look up to your family. Of course. Hopefully you look up to your family. I always look up to like people like you, people in Pittsburgh that are actually doing something they believe in. So even growing up, I mean, I'm addicted to like fashion, anything, but anything that I'm trying to think of one person. Josh,
we'll come back.
You caught me. There isn't really one person. I take like even with religion, with anything, with culture, I take bits and pieces from everything. So I would say culture, just traveling and meeting a ton of different people. I would try to meet as many people as possible and take what I love from their culture, maybe their religion, maybe their morals. Right. So I think I grew up falling in love with traveling because it enabled me to do that. So I like in Costa Rica, their lifestyle and how they live is completely different to the United States, and I like take little bits and pieces of that and try to bring it to my life. So I mean, I look up to other people, other cultures, where people were raised, and try to. I love culture.
Gotcha. Who is someone that you see, whether they're from Pittsburgh or somewhere else, that is either younger or just starting out that you think you see potential them, you want to see them in the next 5 years, you want to see them do well?
Well, I mean, right off the bat, Cody Baker actually got me in touch with it. Well, Cody Baker's awesome. He's going to be doing it. He doesn't even need recognition. There's a Pittsburgh kid named Austin Scotty who works for Kith.
Okay.
He moved up to New York because he wanted to be with Ronnie, the owner of Kith. Yeah. And, I mean, he's like Ronnie's little prodigy now. Okay. And it's like he just moved up there because he knew he had to move up there, and he worked his butt off until –
Yeah.
So, like, I know he's going to be successful. But as for Pittsburgh, I mean, there's a ton of photographers that are way talented and way better than me.
Right.
And as for success, I hope all of them – it's not about money. It's not about that to me. It's the people that are actually doing something they believe in. Like, I mean, are like us. That kid is doing exactly what he wants to do, at least in my eyes. I don't know him that well. But, like, all the photographers out there, I mean, as long as they're doing something they believe in, I mean, they're going to do extremely well. Austin Scotty, I just know because I respect him. And and that whole move he made, and just, I mean, what he's doing right now, he's killing it.
Yeah.
But a lot of the good artists move out of Pittsburgh, and I want to see a lot of these artists stay in Pittsburgh.
What do you think of the Pittsburgh like art and photography scene? You've seen it definitely grow over the last 5 years.
Oh yeah.
What do you think would have to happen for them to stay?
I mean, of course, pay. I mean, everybody wants to be paid.
Right.
Like,
of course.
In Sean Buford, I know it's not his project, but I saw him post about it, and it's called Art is Labor. Yeah. And with Pittsburgh, I think Pittsburgh's evolving to understand that, like, these creative minds in the older corporate people are understanding that we need to pay these kids because they know what they're doing.
Yes.
So I think, of course, pay, but paying somebody for their time. Because, I mean, a thought or a creative idea has taken years to get to that point. And I don't think people understand that as well. But I think Pittsburgh's kind of turning a new leaf with, I mean, I work in the event world because I see money there.
Right.
It's not something I'm truly passionate about, but I found a couple clients that I really like. Yeah. And it gets me paid. And I think if you find the area, there is money there, but as a whole, I think creatives need to be paid more.
Absolutely.
And artists need to be paid more in Pittsburgh. And I think that's what will keep them there.
Gotcha. No, that's good insight.
Yeah.
If you had to say for yourself, like, words that you live by or ideas, it could be religion, it could be just, thoughts, whatever. Like, what is something at your core that you, like?
My mom always told me love life, and I actually have it tattooed in my hip in her handwriting because I believe in it that much. I mean, we are here right now, and you just have to love it. I mean, there's so many great human beings, and with all the bad stuff going on in the world, I always say, I mean, Fred Rogers said it, look for the people that are helping. Right. And that's like my insight is, like, look around. Like, life is very amazing, and I know people go through different. We're all different. We've all come from different neighborhoods. I've been privileged to come from a different neighborhood, but it's not really privilege. It's just, I mean, you're kind of put there. And we grow up and we move on, but, like, just respect one another. I mean, the biggest thing you can do is just love your life and love others' lives. I mean, I always say, like, you can hate me, I love you. Like, that mindset. Like, I don't care. Like, I love everybody. Everybody is good in my book, Right. So I just think, I mean, Pittsburgh's been extremely awesome with the whole collaboration. Right. A lot of people are collaborating together and they're supportive of one another, which is awesome. Right. But yeah, just, I mean, love your life first and then love others' life. I mean, that's just how I've always lived.
I love it.
Yeah. What about you, Josh? What's what's that one thing that you live by?
My thing is, that's a great question.
You asked me, so
yeah, no, that's fine.
Cheers
fine.
to
I'll
you.
take it. So the way that you treat people is, to me, is trust, honesty, and respect. You give it, you hope to get it. But if you give those three things, you can't have one without the other. Trust, honesty, respect. They all work together. So I try my hardest, whether it's a customer, if I'm in a relationship, family, whatever it is. Those three things just kind of have to be there. If I don't feel like I'm getting them, I'm able to see that as a red flag and be like, oh, you know what? I don't feel like this person is trusting me. Well, if they're not trusting me, then they're not going to be honest with me. If they're not, and that's important, whether it's relationship or customer. You want to make sure that they feel comfortable, and then with that, communication and expectations. And that's probably the hardest thing ever, is being able to communicate clearly, expectations as far as people knowing what you expect from yourself, what you expect from other people, and being able to understand what people expect from you. And that's being able to communicate all that. The kicker, like the last line I like, is like being able to communicate people in a way that they understand, because like that's the hardest thing right there. Like if the people, think of all the big CEOs, think of all the people that get it, think of the people that have the best relationships. They all are able to communicate to people the way that they can understand it. And that, I think, that's the key that a lot of people are missing and not focusing on. And that, I think that's what makes, like, I have a print shop, and 95% of the orders we're able to just put through. All right, cool. You want something printed? We print it for you. Great. But that 5% that we're able to stop, say, hey, I'm not sure if this exactly communicates what you're trying to say. Can we tweak this a little bit? Can we make some changes? And that's what you don't get at some big box place. That's what you can't get anywhere else. That's why people come to us, because they know that they're cared for. They know we respect them, that we're honest with them. And that, I feel like, helps us with advertising and marketing as a background. That's where I try to like shine a little bit more.
What about like in the community? Like that's where I feel everything in Pittsburgh, sit down, like, and what I love about creatives is like, let's sit down and talk, like as human beings, like, and then kind of get a feel. Like that's what I love about you, is like first time I met you, you're like, let's get a Frank Schwery and talk. And I don't think people talk enough, and I think the creative world does, but that's what I love the most, is just actually talking to people. Yeah. I know it's not executing, but at least talking is a good step to understanding.
It is executing. It's executing the communication end. Yeah. And it's executing, you know, what is it that if it opens up the door and enables you to think or see clearer, then that's it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So it may seem frivolous or like a time waster to like go and like, you know, with thoughtful discussion, like you can know, like it's endless, you know.
No, I'm with you.
It depends on the person, but if you, and it's, I mean, you could get bad advice from anyone, but if you get good advice, like,
well, that's what,
like, that's what you got to take that for all it's worth. Like,
yeah, 100%. And that's what, like, I listen to a lot of podcasts with Casey Neistat, and I'm not going to bring him up too much because everybody's obsessed with him and they've heard it. But he always says, like, take in everything and ignore everything. Take in everything and use zero of it. Or I forget what the damn quote is. But long story short, like, hear what everybody has to say, and you don't have to take any of it. But at least hear what they have to say. And I always love that. Like, just actually listen.
That's another thing for me. Like, take everything for what it's worth, but see everything for what it's worth. Yeah. So, like, and it's saying the same thing a different way. But like, take everything for what it's worth. I don't mean to take advantage, but like, use it. You know, like if it's something that's there for you, like do whatever you can with it while you can, and then but at the same time, see everything for what it's worth. See its true value, and don't that's a thing that people can do easily. You know, you overthink it, or you have some expectation for something and it doesn't pan out, and then you end up disappointed. See it for what it's worth, and you won't be. And that's where I think that's how I've gotten ahead in some instances. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Sweet. Well, we're gonna close out, but you can tell me where we could find you, any links, any events that are coming up, anything going on.
Awesome. Yeah, so you can find me at Ben Petchel, and then also at HaveFunDoGood. Okay. We're going to start doing a lot more local events. We're actually launching in a week some local events that are going to be pretty rad here in Pittsburgh. So that'll be cool to kind of build more of a Pittsburgh community. Awesome. But yeah, check us out.
Cool. Website
HaveFunDoGood.co, not some lady still has .com. She wants $15,000 for it. So make sure it's .co.
.co.
Baby steps.
Yeah. YouTube,
same thing. HaveFunDoGood, everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, be sure to check it out. There's going to be links down below. You can leave a comment as well. If you were going to ask a question for people to leave comment about, what would you ask everyone?
Let me know how I sounded. Did I say too much, or did I stutter at all? No, let me know what you think of Have Fun Do Good. Go on there.
Yeah, that's fair.
And maybe tag a friend. Actually, tag a friend that you think would be interested in Have Fun Do Good. We're trying to just get more people aware of it, and it's rad. I think it would definitely be something great for you.
Awesome. Well, feel free to like it, follow us, subscribe, and check us out. Thoughtful discussion by Joshua Snider.
And Josh Snider's a legend. Bye. Out. That was awesome, man. Thank you.
Thank you.